Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome back to our channel, the VSCode Technologies. So today we are going to discuss about the very basic tools of VS Code, which we are going to use them in our development. So let's get started. So before going to the VS Code, we need to configure a version control. So you can choose any of the version control you like. So as I'm comfortable with the GitHub, I'm going to create a repository in the GitHub. So let's just open your browser and type GitHub. So if you don't have an account, you can sign up with your email and get an account. Here you can see there is an option create repository. So it's going to prompt us to provide the name. So I'm going to make it as a test, and the description is optional. So there are two options available, like whether you would like to make this as a public repository or a private repository. So public means it's like your files can be accessed through the internet. Anyone can access your files. If you make it as a private, without your permission, no one can access your files. So it depends on your project. You can select these things. The next one is add a readme file. So readme file is nothing but a notes or overview of your project. So which includes like the documentation of the APIs which we have in the project, or step-by-step process how we can configure and install and run the application, or maybe the contact information or license and copyright information. The other one is add a gitignore file. So gitignore file is a file where we have to mention the file names which we don't want to be pushed to the GitHub at all, like the packages, installed packages, or installed dependencies. So these are having a high memory size which we don't want to be pushed to the GitHub at all, or some local file which is being created by our IDE. So these sort of files we have to mention in this gitignore file, that those are going to be ignored by the GitHub. So let's create a repository now. So this is the dashboard of our repository. Here you can see get started by creating a new file or uploading an existing file. So if you have a project files already in your local machine, you can upload an existing file. So you can click it here and you can upload your files here. So if you don't have anything and you're going to start a new repository, then just create a new file. So here I'm going to add the express code. It's just a sample express code. I'm going to name it as app.js. I'm going to commit these changes. Okay, so committing the changes. So as you can see, our repository has a file app.js. Now we need to get a GitHub link. So just go to our repository here, and you need to get a GitHub link under the code. So there are multiple ways to clone a project. Either you can use HTTPS or SSH or GitHub CLI. So I'm going with the HTTPS and just copy this URL. Now let's move to the VS Code. We need to clone this project. So we need a terminal here. To open a terminal, just click on this icon at the top right corner, the middle icon, which will open a bottom window like this. And this is the path which I'm going to clone this project. If you want to change it, you can change this path. So now just type git clone and paste your path. So this is going to prompt a login, so GitHub login. If you have a token, then you can provide the token and sign in. But I'm going with this sign in with your browser. So just click on the sign in with browser. So it's going to open a browser. So just authorize the Git ecosystem, and we need to provide the password. Now click confirm. So you can see here the project is being cloned. So just go to the path which you have provided. So I'm going to the path the desktop. So you can see here the project is being cloned here. So just open this project in VS Code. There we have our file app.js. So you can see here. So these are the tools which we are going to use while developing any project in VS Code. The first one is like Explorer. So Explorer is nothing but which will give the total structure, the total source file of your project. So you can see here we have only app.js, only one file. If you want to create a new one, you can click a plus icon here, the plus new file. So if you click on it, it's going to prompt a file name which you need to provide. So I'm going to name it as a test.js, and I'm going to add the same data and save it. If you want a new folder, just click on the plus new folder here. So it's going to create a new folder for you. I'm going to type it as a sample. So this is the sample folder. So currently it's an empty. You can add it as per your requirement. So doing a development, you need to create multiple folders like the controllers, configurations, and etc. So this is the Explorer, and the second one is the search icon. Like for every IDE, we have a search icon. So if you want to search with some sort of string where you would like to know where exactly this string exists in an entire project, so you use this search tool. So just click on search tool. So let's just search with any of the string here. So I'm going to search with express. So where exactly it is there in the entire project. So it gives me like app.js and test.js has the express in it and following lines of code. If you want to replace express with something else, so you can provide here and click enter. So it's going to replace the entire project where it matches express with new string. There are a few more options available here, like just click on these three dots. So these are the filter icons. So files to include and files to exclude. So I don't want to search this express string in test.js. I want to search only in app.js. So in that case, what you need to do is files to include. So just include your app.js file here, app.js here. So this is going to search in this file itself only. So it's ignore any other files. So you can see here it's showing only the matching lines of code in app.js. So similarly, files to exclude. So there are files which I don't want to be included. I don't want to be searched with. So just add app.js here. So it's going to exclude those files. So both these functions are different but quite opposite. So here I have excluded app.js. So now it's showing the result in only in test.js. So we can use as per our requirement. The third tool is source control. So this is very important tool in our VS Code. So this will give you the information about your current repository and its branching. And also it will give you the code differences or file differences between your local machine compared to the remote repository. So as you can see here, the test.js, which has been identified as untracked. So which is nothing but it's a new file created locally but not yet pushed to the remote repository, to the GitHub. And also it will give you the code changes between the files. So for example, just go to the Explorer and app.js. So this is the file which is already there in the remote repository. So just make some changes here. So I'm going to change the port number 3000 to 8000 and hit save. So now you can see here the source control has the two pending changes. So you can see here app.js, which has been identified as modified. So click on app.js. So it's going to pop up two windows. The left one is old changes. The right one is a new or current changes. So as you can simply see here, it's been moved from 3000 to 8000. So this will help the developer to identify the changes before they are pushing to the GitHub, whether those are intentional or not intentional. So for suppose they by mistake they have added this change, they want to revert it back. So for this line of block, we can revert it back by clicking this arrow, the revert block. If you click on this arrow, it's going to revert to the old code. Or else if you want to revert back entire file, so there is an arrow here, you can see discard changes. If you click this one, it's going to revert the entire file. So I'm going to click this discard file. Now the changes got discarded. Yeah, as you can see here, both the windows have the port number 3000 and 3000. So it's reverted back to the old changes. So this is all about source control. Now let's move to the run and debug. Run and debug. So this is also a very important tool in our VS Code. So whenever you want to debug your code to identify where exactly you're getting this undefined value or null values, and also if you want to check how the execution is going on step by step, so all sort of things you can check by using this run in debug mode. But to use this application, we need to make sure our application runs without any issues. As you can see here, we are having a sample Node.js application with Express framework. So we need to install this Express framework. Just go to your terminal here and run npm install express. So before using this npm install express, you need to make sure you have npm installed. Then only you can use this npm install express. So I'm going to hit enter. So this is going to install our Express framework. Now we are good. So we can run in debug mode. So as you can see here, there is a create launch.json file. So this is going to create a default file which is related to our project. So click on this one and you need to select the Node.js. So just click on the Node.js. So this is going to create a launch.json file related to the Node.js. And also you can see here, there is a program, so which is mentioned as app.js. So the execution or the application runs from app.js. In case if you want to change your flow from some other file, you can mention here. So by default, it's taken as app.js. Now click save. And you can see there is a play icon at the left side, launch program. So just click on this play icon. So this is going to run your application in debug mode. So here you can see multiple options which got popped up here. So before going to these options, you need to check a debug console here. So here you can see app is listening to the port 3000. So just go to your app.js file. Now you need to add a breakpoints. So you can see I'm going to add a breakpoint while sending the response hello world. So I have added a breakpoint here. Now you can see those breakpoints available at the bottom left side bottom, the breakpoints window. Here there are options available. So this is the toggle active breakpoint icon, where if you want to activate or deactivate your breakpoints. So currently it's in active state. So I'm going to deactivate by clicking on this button. So this is going to deactivate our breakpoints. If you want to remove the breakpoints, the entire breakpoints in your project, so there is one more option available here, like remove all breakpoints. So if you click on this one, it's going to remove all the breakpoints. But now I need a breakpoint, so I'm going to add a breakpoint here. So this color shows like it's an active. So now we have an active breakpoint. So all we need to do now is to run our application, execute our application. So as you can see here, it is listening to the port number 3000. So we need to run a local host with 3000. Then it's going to hit this app.get with slash. So let's go to your browser, open a new tab here and type localhost with port number 3000. If you do a enter, so it's going to give a breakpoint indication here. You can see it is blinking. So the VS Code is showing like it stopped the execution at the breakpoint. As you can see here, there are two objects, request and response. So if you want to check what exactly these are holding, so just mouse over your cursor on your request object. So this will show us the entire object which it holds. And also the response object, just mouse over on the response object and it will show you the entire values. So this is the way you can identify the variables and its values. And you can see here there are a couple of options available in debug mode. So if you click on this play icon, it's going to continue with the next breakpoint. And also there is a down arrow button. If you click on this one, it's going to move to the next statement, even though it doesn't have a breakpoint. And if you want to be out of this debug mode, just you can click on this square, the red colored square box. If you click on it, it's going to come out of the debug mode. So currently I'm going to click on this continue option. So this is going to print hello world in your browser. So as you can see, this is the hello world. So this is all about run and debug mode. So next we are going to the tool, the extensions. The extensions. So the extensions are nothing but a third-party libraries which you want to use them directly in your VS Code. So without moving to any other applications. So for example, if you want to run a REST API, we are going to need a Postman. But without going to the outside of this VS Code, you can install a Thunder client. I'm going to type as Thunder client. So this is the Thunder client. So we need to install this one. So this is going to be installed here. I'm going to trust publisher and install. So this will install our Thunder client so that we can use directly in your VS Code. So it got installed now. Now go to, you can see there is a symbol which is came at the left side, the Thunder client. So just click on the Thunder client. Now you can see the UI which is exactly really similar to the Postman. Here you can click on new request, and here you can add your URL and so that you can test it directly. I'm going to type our localhost here. As you can see here, it triggered a breakpoint as we are still in debug mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on continue, and I'm going to remove this breakpoint and get back to our Thunder client third-party library, and I'm going to click send. So we got the response. So this is lot similar like the Postman. So without going to the outside of VS Code, we directly tested this REST API within the VS Code by using Thunder client third-party library from the extensions. So similarly, as per our requirement, we can install any third-party libraries directly from these extensions, and you can use it so that we can speed up our development. So this is all about our extensions. And also I would like to thank and appreciate the people who supporting me by subscribing this channel, and stay tuned for the upcoming videos. Thank you.